The wrong woman will not just distract you, she will dismantle you slowly. She will make hesitation feel like wisdom. She will make your calling sound like a phase. And by the time you notice, your fire will already be cold. But the right woman will weaponize your faith, harden your discipline, and speak prophecy over your purpose. There is one decision that will either multiply your mission or murder it silently. It's who you build your life with. If you listen to this message with the focus of a man fighting for his future, you will walk away knowing exactly what kind of woman you must choose or how to realign the one you already have. But if you skip it, if you drift one day, you'll look back at the ashes of your potential and wonder why it never ignited. A man's calling is not casual. It is sacred. It is not a side pursuit. It is a divine assignment written into the fabric of his existence before he took his first breath. And yet far too many men treat their mission as something to be shared with whoever merely shows up, not who is spiritually qualified to carry it beside them. You must understand this now. Your life's work is an altar, and the woman you allow beside it will either keep the fire burning or piss on it quietly while smiling to your face. She will not do it with hatred, but with soft suggestions, with well-meaning questions, with subtle undermining. Are you sure this is realistic? Maybe you should take a break. I miss the old you. These are not just phrases, they are slow poisons, and many great men have drunk them gladly because they came wrapped in affection. Henry Ford did not build an empire alone, but he was careful about who walked with him. His loyalty extended only to those who matched his belief. He did not explain his vision to doubters, and he did not beg for validation from those who could not see what he saw. His home was a place of alignment, not apology. Andrew Carnegie was no fool in partnerships. He surrounded himself with men who were loyal not just to him, but to the mission. He did not need constant praise. He needed conviction. When he sensed even the faintest misalignment in values or ambition, he separated fast. Because he knew that a divided house doesn't collapse instantly, it leans slowly until it cannot carry the weight of greatness anymore. You may be tempted to think, but she's kind, or she doesn't understand, but she's trying. My friend, this is not a matter of kindness. This is a matter of calling. A well-meaning woman who does not believe in your purpose is more dangerous than an enemy who does, because she will smile while softening your edge. The greatest mistake a man can make is giving the deepest parts of himself to someone who does not understand how sacred those parts are. Your ideas, your energy, your flame, all of it is divine material. And when you share it with the wrong woman, she will mishandle it. Not because she's cruel, but because she's unqualified. This is not judgment, this is protection. Your purpose is not a playground, it is not a mood. It is not a hobby you tinker with when she's comfortable. It is the fire that will either light your generation or be extinguished in compromise. And don't be deceived by short-term chemistry. There are women who will praise your ambition while slowly resenting the time it takes, who will celebrate your vision on stage but sabotage it in the home. The applause in public means nothing if you walk into a house where your purpose feels like a burden. A man must vet more than beauty. He must test for belief. He must ask himself, does this woman understand my fire? And can she carry oil to keep it lit when mine runs low? If the answer is no, he is not walking into love, he is walking into a trap. And if you're already in a relationship that is misaligned, you must not panic, but you must confront. You must speak vision aloud. You must test the response. Does she lean in or withdraw? Does she sharpen you or soften your edge? Because the wrong woman will always demand that you be less focused, less intense, less faithful to the call God gave you. But the right woman, she'll be your multiplier. She'll hear your definite chief aim and double it with her presence. She'll carry the silence with you. She'll remind you of who you are when you forget. She won't just love you. She'll protect your destiny like it's her own. The truth is this: many men are not failing from lack of drive. They are failing from being divided. Their loyalty is torn between peace in the home and fire in the belly. But purpose was never meant to be divorced from peace. You were meant to live with both, a house of silence that fans the flame, not one that puts it out. If you want to walk in purpose, start here. Do not share your soul with sabotage. Declare it. Install it into your subconscious. Build the wall before you build the empire. Protect the gate of intimacy with the same ferocity you protect your ambition. And remember this: you do not need a cheerleader, you need a co-builder. There is a law of the mind that few men understand, but every great man obeys. It is the law of the mastermind. Two or more minds, aligned in harmony toward a definite aim, create a third intelligence, a higher mind capable of moving mountains. It is not theory, it is law. And while most men apply this to business, wealth, or war, the wisest among them know the most powerful mastermind a man will ever build is not with an investor nor a strategist. It is with his wife. A marriage is not a convenience. It is not a comfort system for your emotional weaknesses. It is a spiritual contract, and it is either a mastermind of multiplication or a silent agreement of mediocrity. The man who chooses well is not just loved, he is armed. He wakes up beside vision. He comes home to prophecy. He speaks his fears aloud, and they are transformed into fuel by the voice of a woman who believes, even when he doubts. Consider President Woodrow Wilson. After suffering a debilitating stroke during his second term, he was unable to govern with clarity or strength. His wife, Edith, stepped in, not to control, but to uphold. She shielded him, interpreted for him, protected his image, and sustained the office's direction. While critics whispered of secret influence, what was really happening was something far more sacred: the mastermind in marriage. A covenant not of lust or luxury, but of loyalty to a mission greater than both of them. Or take Thomas Edison, whose work demanded tireless nights and boundless focus. His wife was no celebrity. She was not loud. But in the silence of their home, she made sure the air was pure, the chaos muted, and the atmosphere aligned with genius. She was not a partner in the laboratory, but she was a protector of the temple. Edison's success did not happen in a vacuum. It happened in a chamber curated by faith and support. You must understand this. The man who chooses a woman who believes in the aim will achieve 10 times what the man with a skeptical spouse ever could. Because when two souls are in rhythm, doubt cannot survive. But when they are divided, even the simplest decisions become battlegrounds. And soon, the mission that once felt sacred starts to feel selfish. Not because it is, but because it is being interpreted through the lens of someone who does not carry it. Most men do not fall because of external attacks. They fall because of internal misalignment. They speak one destiny, but they sleep beside resistance. They try to build like Carnegie, but live with a woman who secretly resents his ambition. This contradiction does not show up all at once. It erodes the will day by day. First, it's a complaint, then a comparison, then a coldness, and finally, apathy. Not in her, in you. But if you are wise, if you are deliberate, you will not choose comfort. You will choose covenant. You will look for the woman whose presence feels like silence and steel, who does not always cheer, but who always believes, who doesn't need to understand every detail of your vision, because she understands who you are. And in your weakest moments, she speaks to the strongest part of you. This is not about domination. This is about direction. Two becoming one in purpose, not just in touch. A true mastermind marriage is built on clarity, repetition, and vision. It is spoken into being. It is maintained through ritual. It is fought for in prayer. And it is protected with the same ferocity you would protect your business, your health, your soul. But what happens when this is not the case? What if you are already tied to a woman who does not believe? Then you must lead. You must speak the vision aloud, You must invite her into the fire, not by demanding submission, but by modeling conviction. You must schedule a meeting not about emotion, but about mission. Share your definite chief aim. Share your blueprint. Ask not for permission, but for partnership. And watch. If she is the right one, she will not just agree, she will ignite. And if you are still single, then for the love of your future, do not confuse chemistry for calling. Do not mistake shared humor for shared destiny. Wait for the one who multiplies your motion, who adds peace to your progress, who hears your definite chief aim and rises to match it. You are not looking for someone who makes you feel alive. You are looking for someone who keeps you aligned. And the man who understands this, who chooses wisely, will not just rise. He will reign. My union multiplies my mission. I attract only that which sharpens me. I do not build beside confusion. I build beside clarity. My marriage is a mastermind. My partnership is prophecy. And because of that, I cannot fail. There will come a day, if you are truly pursuing a definite chief aim, when the ground beneath your feet will shake. Not because you chose wrong, but because your path is right. Every great mission invites uncertainty. Every worthy vision attracts resistance. And every man on the brink of transformation will meet a moment where even he doubts what he once declared boldly. And in that moment, when the man trembles, it is not his strength that saves him. It is the voice beside him, the woman who refuses to flinch. Her belief must not be polite. It must be prophetic. It must not merely comfort. It must anchor. For belief is not tested when things are smooth. It is tested when the world laughs, the bank balance drops, and your plans fail publicly. What does she say then? Does she ask if you have a backup plan, or does she remind you of your blueprint? Does she say, maybe it's time to slow down, or this is exactly when you speed up? Because the woman who believes in your calling will not just support you, she will resurrect you. Andrew Carnegie once faced a series of public and private challenges that would have broken a lesser man. The steel markets were volatile. Partners questioned him. Even the press, whom he had tried to charm, turned against his methods. But his wife never wavered. She did not demand explanations. She did not question his aim. She stayed composed. She guarded his energy. And she reminded him of what he already knew, that greatness cannot be voted upon by outsiders. It is proven by endurance. Most men do not realize this, but they train the women in their lives how to respond to uncertainty. If every small setback causes him to rant, complain, or panic, then she will begin to doubt as well. But when a man holds his frame, when he declares his vision aloud even while bleeding, he gives her permission to believe harder. And in return, she offers something even more powerful than faith: stability. A woman whose belief is stronger than her fear is not common. She will not be the loudest in the room. She may not flatter you with excessive praise, but her silence is not weakness, it is certainty. She does not need to cheer constantly because her stillness says, I already know who you are. And that kind of belief, when present in your home, turns the house into a fortress. Before choosing a woman to build with, ask the questions most men are too afraid to face. When I am at my lowest, will she lower with me or lift me? When my mission is questioned, will she join the doubters or echo my aim? Does she dream with me or merely survive beside me? Does she ask, what will we do if it fails? Or does she declare, I already see it working? These are not romantic inquiries. These are strategic evaluations of your future's foundation. If you are already married and these questions unsettle you, good. It means you're paying attention. It means you're about to either restore what has been asleep or realign what has drifted. Do not demand belief from her. Model it. Speak your vision daily. Include her in the mission, not as an employee, but as a partner. Her belief will rise when she sees your unwavering direction. And if you are not yet joined to anyone, write this down in fire. Do not choose her because she believes in you now. Choose her because she will believe in you when no one else does. Anyone can admire your strength when it's visible, but only a covenant woman sees the crown before it is placed on your head. You are not building beside emotion. You are building beside eternal agreement. Her belief must be louder than the world's doubt. I do not build beside panic. I build beside peace. My mission does not compete with her fear, because she left fear behind the moment she chose to walk beside destiny. And I am the man who does not confuse support with silence. I demand clarity. I cultivate peace. And I choose only what aligns with heaven's plan for my life. There are two kinds of women a man will meet on the road to purpose. One will flatter his ego, the other will fortify his spirit. One will intoxicate his senses, the other will ignite his soul. And unless a man has trained himself to recognize the difference, he will always choose the former, only to wake up years later wondering where his fire went and why he no longer hears God's voice. Beauty may catch your eye, but it is order that holds your destiny. A purposeful woman does not walk with chaos in her spirit. Her steps are measured, her silence is sacred, and her presence does not pull you off the path. It sharpens the path beneath your feet. She will not audition for your attention. She will not decorate her insecurity with charm. She will not beg to be loved. Why? Because she already knows who she is and whose she is. Her identity is not built on compliments. It is carved by conviction. A woman who is aligned with heaven's rhythm does not chase, and she does not entertain a man who drifts. She observes. She discerns. She waits for the one who speaks in vision, not volume. And when she walks with you, it is not to complete you. It is to multiply you. There is a subtle strength in her silence. She does not compete with your mission. She complements it. She does not try to be your purpose. She honors that you already have one. Her encouragement is not laced with expectation. She trusts in timing, not control. She listens without fixing. And most importantly, she knows how to wait, not in laziness, but in preparation. She is not in a hurry because she is not afraid. Her patience is not weakness. It is proof of order. A man who has not yet anchored himself to a definite chief aim will always choose convenience. He will seek someone who soothes his anxiety, entertains his boredom, and makes him feel good now. But a man who walks with vision is not seduced by ease. He does not need constant affirmation. He needs alignment. He does not choose based on comfort. He chooses based on conviction. He knows that the fire he carries requires a specific kind of atmosphere, not one filled with noise and drama, but one built on calm, consistency, and spiritual sharpness. Do not be fooled by appearance alone. The enemy knows how to dress a distraction in elegance. A woman may speak the language of purpose, yet carry the spirit of interruption. Watch not just what she says. Watch what grows around her. Does her presence make you more disciplined or more distracted? Do your habits improve or decay? Do you pray more or less? Do you rise earlier, speak clearer, work harder? Or has your life softened into a subtle drift since she arrived? If she does not sharpen your sword, she should not sit at your table. John D. Rockefeller, a man who built empires with surgical precision, once said that his home was his anchor, not a place of escape, but a place of order. His wife, Laura Spelman Rockefeller, was not loud in the press. She did not chase public admiration, but she was his stillness. In the storm of business, she was not a distraction. She was his center of gravity. He made decisions with confidence because he knew that the atmosphere at home would not sabotage him with emotional warfare. Behind every man who moves with power in public, there is often a woman who knows how to guard him in private. You must write this in your heart. She walks with grace because she walks with God. Her steps are not driven by desire. They are directed by divine order. She does not need to prove herself. She does not compete with your vision. She simply lives hers, and it is this alignment that draws the right man toward her like iron to magnet. And you, yes, you, must become the type of man who attracts depth, not distraction. If your life is filled with noise, that is what you will draw. If your life is filled with silence, direction, and fire, only those who respect sacred things will dare come close. The woman who belongs beside you will not try to tame your fire. She will stoke it with wisdom. She will not compete with your time. She will protect it. She will not make you question your aim. She will remind you to raise it higher. You do not need 10 options. You need one alignment. A woman of peace, a woman of preparation, a woman who carries presence, not performance. She doesn't try to look perfect. She is rooted. Her voice calms the storm in your chest. Her eyes don't flatter. They read you. Her words don't distract. They declare over you. She speaks when necessary and holds space when silence is stronger than advice. So I say to you now, do not rush, do not settle, and do not believe the lie that you are running out of time. You are not waiting for the right woman. You are preparing for her. And when she comes, you will know, not by how she looks, but by how she makes you look at your future. You will not feel anxious around her. You will feel ready. You will not feel addicted to her. You will feel aligned. You will not feel pulled. You will feel focused. She is rare, yes, but she exists. And she walks with God, not with games. Your job is not to chase her. It is to become the man who calls her forth by how he lives. There are women whose words sound like admiration, but whose presence drains the soul. They will praise your ambition in front of others, yet pierce it in private. They will post your victories, but privately belittle your habits. And if a man is not grounded in his definite chief aim, he will confuse their compliments for commitment and their presence for partnership. But make no mistake, not every woman who claps for you wants to see you win. Some only wish to stand beside your light while slowly dimming it behind closed doors. The most dangerous kind of influence is the one that pretends to believe. Because with that type of woman, you won't confront the decay. You'll justify it. You'll say she means well. You'll say she's just stressed. You'll say it's your fault for not being more attentive. And slowly, you will begin to shift. Not toward growth, but toward permission. You'll ask before you speak. You'll shrink before you act. You'll seek her peace instead of your purpose. This is the most cunning sabotage a man can face, not direct resistance, but emotional corrosion. You will not feel the theft in one day. You will feel it in years. When you look at your unfinished dreams, your dulled hunger, and the strange absence of fire that once burned through your chest, you'll call it maturity or compromise or life happening. But no, life didn't happen. You simply yoked your calling to the wrong covenant. There are men who began as fire starters, burning with clarity, driven by calling, who ended as silent shadows of themselves. Not because they lost talent, not because the world beat them, but because they tethered their life's mission to someone who didn't believe in it. And in the name of keeping the peace, they silenced the very voice that was supposed to shape nations. Beauty does not bless your life if it does not build your life. And attention is not affirmation if it does not align with your future. There are men, brilliant, chosen, rare, who gave away decades of their greatness for a woman who was never called to walk beside them. And what's worse, they knew it. Somewhere, deep in their gut, they knew. But they were afraid of loneliness, afraid of starting over, afraid of seeming ungrateful. So they stayed, and slowly their purpose began to atrophy. You must understand this. The wrong woman does not need to attack you to ruin you. She only needs to divide your attention. She only needs to convince you that your purpose can wait. She only needs to pull your focus from vision to validation, from legacy to logistics, from eternity to comfort. And by the time you wake up, you won't even be angry. You'll just be numb. And numbness, for a man of purpose, is the death that doesn't bury the body, it buries the fire. If you are already married to a woman who once supported the mission but now drifts from it, do not retreat. Realign. Call a meeting. Not of emotions, but of purpose. Speak your definite chief aim aloud. Ask her to declare hers. Rebuild the mastermind. Invite prayer back into the room. Set the table not just with affection, but direction. Your marriage is not a place to relax into mediocrity. It is a covenant of progress. If she resists, if she dismisses, if she diminishes the importance of the path, then the truth is in front of you. You will have to walk in purpose anyway. But first, you must stop pretending that her silence is support. You must stop lying to yourself about the impact of her absence in the spiritual realm. Because whether you acknowledge it or not, the man she pulls you into being is not the man you were created to be. Some women will challenge you out of love. That is not what I speak of. I speak of the ones who mock the mission, even if they mask it behind sarcasm, subtlety, or just joking. I speak of the ones who downplay your hunger, who interrupt your silence, who need chaos just to feel close. I speak of the ones who resent your time with God because it makes you too strong for them to control. The energy drainer is not a bad person, but she is a dangerous partner. She will not stab your dreams. She will convince you to trade them for comfort, for security, for being realistic. And every time you look at her, your spirit will feel it. You are not expanding. You are managing. You are not becoming. You are maintaining. And a man was never built to live on a leash, especially not one wrapped in silk. Your peace is not a luxury. It is your compass. If you feel more peaceful after she leaves the room than when she enters, you are already being warned. If your energy rises when you are alone and drops when she arrives, you already know. Your body knows. Your spirit knows. The only thing left to decide is whether you will obey the signal or keep betraying your destiny out of habit. From this moment forward, peace is your standard, not persuasion. Stop trying to convince yourself that a woman is aligned just because you once loved the version of her who was. Ask the hard question. Does this woman expand my focus or my fear? When I am with her, do I move sharper, speak clearer, act faster, or do I edit myself, second-guess my calling, and seek approval where I once had vision? You were not born to negotiate your calling. You were not made to water it down. And you certainly were not created to waste it, proving it to someone who never had eyes to see it in the first place. A man of purpose must never forget that his calling is sacred, and sacred things require protection. Your definite chief aim is not a decoration. It is not a slogan. It is the organizing principle of your existence. And therefore, the woman you choose to walk beside you must not be selected out of boredom, loneliness, or charm. She must be selected through alignment. You are not simply choosing a companion. You are choosing an amplifier or a siphon. There is no neutrality in union. She either multiplies your mission or she muddles it. Before you choose her beauty, choose her spirit. Before you choose her company, choose her conviction. A man whose assignment comes from God cannot afford to marry a woman who doesn't hear God for herself. He cannot afford to tether his purpose to a heart that chases survival over vision, opinion over principle, comfort over fire. I say this with soberness. The wrong woman will not just cost you peace, she will cost you legacy. And the tragedy? It will not happen in an instant. It will happen over years of compromise, patience, and trying to make it work. Years in which your mission fades into memory and your voice lowers to match her fear. Let me be clear. The right woman does not compete with your calling. She confirms it. She does not need convincing of your future. She sees it before the world does. You speak it and she agrees. You stumble and she strengthens. When you lose faith in yourself, she reminds you of what God said. That is the kind of woman a man of divine assignment must find, or cultivate if already joined. Consider Abraham Lincoln, a man of deep conviction, fierce purpose, and spiritual weight. His marriage was often a burden, not a blessing. Mary Todd Lincoln was no partner in vision. Her energy often pulled him away from clarity, and her instability became his private torment, even as he carried the Union on his shoulders. Did he still fulfill his purpose? Yes, but at great personal cost. He had to fight not only public division, but private disorder. Imagine how much lighter his burden would have been if his closest confidant had been a mastermind, not a weight. Now contrast that with Manuel L. Quezon, the first president of the Commonwealth of the Philippines. His marriage to Aurora Quezon was not just loving, it was mission-driven. She believed in the nation they were building. She supported his reforms. She was not just his wife, she was his witness. Her presence did not dilute his courage, it magnified it. And when he died, she carried his vision until her own death. That is the power of spiritual alignment. That is what a true union does. It continues the purpose even beyond the man. If you are not yet married, hear me well. Do not write a wish list of qualities that flatter your loneliness. Write a requirements list based on your assignment. Ask, what kind of woman would sharpen my discipline? What kind of woman would speak life when the world speaks fear? What kind of woman would protect my solitude, respect my rituals, and help build the fortress of my legacy, not decorate the garden of my ego? Write that list in full and do not deviate, not for charm, not for pressure, not for fantasy. The woman you choose is the partner of your eternity, not just your emotions. And if you are already married and your wife no longer reflects that vision, you do not retreat, you do not abandon, you revive. Call a meeting, sit down with the solemnity of men at war and ask, what are we building? Declare your definite chief aim again aloud. Ask her to write hers. Pray not casually, but with fire, not with volume, but with submission to purpose. Set time weekly to revisit the covenant, not just the romance. Recite identity affirmations together. Walk in agreement before you walk through life. This is not legalism, it is leadership. And the greatest leaders lead not just nations, but homes. Teach her not just to support your purpose, but to own her role within it. A man's assignment must not be carried alone. That is why God created union. But union without direction is not marriage. It is entanglement. And the cost of entanglement is always compromise. You begin to shrink your voice to keep peace. You begin to hide your fire so it does not scare her. And soon you are no longer becoming the man God called. You are simply maintaining the man she prefers. This cannot be. The times are too urgent. The calling is too great. If your purpose is from heaven, your partnership must be holy. This means she must match not your past, but your future. She must see the man you are becoming, not the one you were. And if she cannot see him, she cannot serve him. If she cannot pray for him, she cannot build with him. And if she cannot celebrate him, she will eventually resent him. Therefore, I say without apology, do not compromise your calling. Do not delay your mission. Do not decorate your life with beauty that does not build. If you are single, choose from the blueprint of destiny, not the hunger of the moment. If you are married, redraw the blueprint with your spouse until every line leads back to heaven. Until your house becomes a headquarters of vision, not a hospital for insecurity. Your assignment determines your alignment. Never again reverse that order. Never again seek connection before clarity. Never again say yes to the wrong voice just because it's soft. Only join hands with those who have seen your fire and vowed to fuel it. Repeat aloud now, I do not compromise my calling. She must match the future I fight for. My assignment is holy, and so is the union that carries it. A man may possess intelligence, he may possess will, he may even possess wealth, but if he lacks stability, all his labor is built on sand. And I have observed through years of study and reflection upon the greatest men of enterprise and vision that this stability often came not merely from discipline or routine, but from the faith of a woman who believed in them more fiercely than the world did. A woman's belief is not a trivial matter. It is not sentiment. It is spiritual steel. It is a force which, though often quiet, holds up a man's backbone when his own begins to bend. Men often look for excitement in a woman, but excitement does not build empires. Faith does. Most do not understand this principle because they confuse femininity with frailty. They think that softness means surrender. But I tell you plainly, when a woman possesses real faith, the kind of faith that does not flinch when storms rise, that does not retreat when delays drag on, she becomes a force greater than any strategy, any fortune, any applause, and she does it in silence. Consider Theodore Roosevelt, a man of war, of boldness, of national vision. Yet even he would speak with sacred reverence of the emotional steadiness his wife provided. She was not loud, she was not in headlines, but she was the reason his heart stayed firm during trials. In the shadows of every powerful man is a woman not waving banners, but holding the walls steady when the house shakes. That is not weakness, that is divine strength. Look too at Edwin C. Barnes, the man who refused to be a cog in someone else's machine and determined instead to become a partner of Thomas Edison. What the world saw was his obsession, his courage, his refusal to quit. What they did not see was the feminine voice that reminded him daily that he was not delusional, that he was not asking too much, that he was not late. She believed, and that belief did not just comfort him, it fortified him. She believed in his aim before there was any result to point to. Even Elmer R. Gates, one of the most inventive minds of the early 20th century, whose genius many respected but few understood, relied not just on intellectual solitude, but on the spiritual peace that came from a woman who trusted his silence. He was not ridiculed in his own home, he was revered. That difference is not minor. That difference determines whether a man's ideas live or die, whether his soul ignites or rusts. A woman's faith is a form of invisible fire. It cannot be measured in volume or visibility, but in vibration. When a man rises in the morning and hears, "I believe in you," it is more potent than 1,000 applause. But when a man returns home and feels you are too much, too late, too strange, he begins to shrink into permission instead of expanding into purpose. Now listen to me well. I am not speaking of the faith of dependency nor of flattery. I speak of the woman who walks in such alignment with purpose that her trust in God extends to you. She doesn't need the plan spelled out. She doesn't beg for comfort. She doesn't rush the outcome. She is still because she knows. That is not submission. That is spiritual warfare. That is the kind of woman who wins battles without ever raising her voice. Men must learn to value this feminine force. It is not merely support. It is not nice to have. It is necessary. Because when the darkness presses in and the bank account is thin and the vision has not yet materialized, you do not need noise. You need presence. You do not need solutions. You need stability. And there is no source more powerful than a woman who has submitted her heart to destiny and joined her voice to your victory. But hear this warning also. If her faith is absent, if she requires results before respect, proof before partnership, certainty before celebration, then you are not in union. You are in trial, and it will wear on you slowly, deeply, until your purpose becomes a burden you hide from her instead of a fire she guards for you. You will begin to question your instincts. You will begin to apologize for your ambition. And when that happens, your assignment begins to wither. You must choose a woman whose peace surpasses your pressure. One who, when the world questions you, leans in and says, "Build anyway." One who reminds you not of your weakness, but of your design. One who refuses to speak fear over your vision because she knows your voice is her future too. That kind of woman is rare, but she exists. And if you are married and your wife has lost that fire, lead her back to it, not with complaint, but with clarity. Share your definite chief aim again. Invite her into it again, and honor her presence when she aligns. Repeat this now. I am held by quiet strength, not loud fear. Her stillness is my fuel. I rise when she believes, and I choose the woman whose faith does not shake. Let us continue. There is no force in man more powerful than the emotion of sex. It is not merely an urge of the body, it is a movement of the spirit, a divine spark which, when properly directed, becomes the fire by which nations are built, books are written, fortunes are created, and legacies are secured. But this same fire, when misused, becomes not creation but destruction. A man who misplaces his sexual energy is like a blacksmith who swings his hammer wildly, unaware he is shattering the very forge he's meant to build upon. The greatest lie men have been sold is that sex is just physical, that it is casual, harmless, recreational. But listen to me carefully. The sexual bond is not flesh meeting flesh. It is spirit mingling with spirit. It is a spiritual exchange, not a transaction. When a man gives his body to a woman without divine alignment, he is not relieving pressure. He is leaking purpose. Over time, he does not just feel empty. He becomes directionless, foggy in thought, weak in conviction. His fire begins to flicker not because of lack of vision, but because he gave his vitality away to someone who did not guard it. Sex, when consecrated, when tethered to sacred union and shared purpose, becomes not a drain, but a multiplier. In such a union, it sharpens focus, calms chaos, and amplifies clarity. That is not myth, that is law. But when the act is stripped from meaning, when it is shared with women who do not carry the same spiritual blueprint, then the body is satisfied temporarily, but the soul is starved. And over time, that starvation eats away at your mission. I have seen too many brilliant men fall, not from failure in business or battles, but from careless leakage of power through uncontrolled lust. They believed they could be great without being guarded. They thought they could serve destiny while obeying their impulses. But greatness is not built in such compromise. You cannot build an empire with a foundation made of scattered energy. You cannot reach the summit when every night you drain your vitality into a woman who does not walk in step with your vision. You must understand the difference between release and alignment. Release is easy. It takes no thought, no control, no direction. But alignment, that is sacred. Alignment is when you share your energy with a woman who multiplies your clarity, who sharpens your mission, and who draws you closer to purpose, not further. Sex with such a woman becomes not a detour, but a discipline. It reminds you of who you are and why you rise each morning, and you leave not weakened, but fortified. There are men who waste decades of progress because they mistake chemistry for covenant, because they chase momentary satisfaction over eternal synergy, and they wonder why they wake up tired, distracted, and divided. Their mind is not confused, it's split. Their body is not weak, it's overexposed. Every act of sex is a decision to unite your spirit with hers. And if she does not carry your vision, you have made a contract with sabotage. Even in marriage, the act must be honored, not assumed. Husbands, hear me. You must treat the union with as much reverence as your purpose. You must guard it, feed it, align it, speak vision before intimacy, pray before pleasure. If your sexual connection does not draw you deeper into discipline and duty, then it is time to revive its foundation. And if you are not yet married, do not trade potential for pleasure. Wait not for perfection, but for purpose. A woman aligned with your assignment is worth more than 1,000 unaligned temptations. The transmutation of sexual energy, as I have taught before, is the single most powerful method for transforming passion into production, desire into discipline. But this transformation only takes place when the mind is fixed, the aim is definite, and the bond is sacred. There is no shortcut. The universe cannot be tricked. You cannot sow division in your body and expect unity in your results. You cannot give your strength away at night and expect to command it by dawn. So now ask yourself, with sobriety, is my sexual life building my future or betraying it? Am I releasing what I should be channeling? Am I honoring this divine force or squandering it? Do I unite with women who see my calling or only my body? These are not small questions. They are foundational. Say these words aloud, not to impress, but to remind. My body and spirit serve the same mission. I do not give myself where I do not build. I transmute desire into direction. I honor the sacred, and it honors me in return. Let no man fool himself. Let no culture seduce him into passive self-destruction. The man who commands his sexual energy commands his entire life, and the man who joins that energy with a woman of alignment becomes unstoppable. A marriage left to drift will always drift downward. The union of two souls, no matter how destined, does not remain sharp by default. It must be forged daily with the same devotion and intentionality that a man brings to his mission. Just as you would not entrust your business to chance, nor your health to guesswork, you must not treat your relationship as something that maintains itself. Love is not enough. Direction is required. Discipline is demanded. To become the man God intended you to be, your household must become an extension of your mission. The woman you walk with is not merely your companion. She is your co-builder, your counsel, your mirror. And just as a great company has board meetings and a great army has drills, so too must your union have its rituals. Without them, even love becomes vague, even passion becomes passive. What begins with fire can end in fog. The first ritual of the aligned marriage is declaration. Every morning, speak words of vision aloud, together. Set the tone not with complaints or schedules, but with conviction. Let the first words your household hears be words of purpose. This is who we are. This is what we build. This is how we move today. Declare your definite chief aim aloud while she listens. Let her do the same with her purpose. Then, if both purposes are aligned, you walk in harmony. If they are not, you have work to do, not just in life, but in love. Next, establish weekly vision meetings. Set aside time without distraction to review your direction. Not to argue over chores or children or circumstance, but to ask each other the highest questions. Are we becoming who we set out to be? Is our union serving our future? Are we drifting or building? If these questions are never asked, then the marriage becomes a machine. It may keep running for years, but one day the fire will be gone, and neither of you will know when it left. Do not fear the silence. Practice it. Learn to sit together without noise. The most powerful couples are not those who always talk, but those who can be still in the same space without anxiety. Let your home be a sanctuary for stillness, a temple where presence is more important than performance. The ability to share silence is the fruit of trust. It means no one is trying to impress. No one is trying to escape. It means peace lives here. Consider the example of Theodore Roosevelt, a man of immense energy, aggression, and national vision. Few know that within his inner circle, his wife's voice held weight equal to generals and statesmen. She was not loud, but she was listened to. Why? Because they had trained their union. She knew his values, his struggles, his goals, and he welcomed her input not as interference, but as insight. His marriage was not a side project, it was a power center. You must cultivate this same power center. Your home must become your first headquarters, your most sacred boardroom. If your marriage is filled with noise, distractions, sarcasm, and emotional clutter, how can you expect clarity in business? How can you expect courage in decision? A divided household will divide your mind, and a distracted partnership will dilute your purpose. Do not wait for convenience to build these rituals. There will never be time. You must make time. Wake up earlier. Turn off the devices. Cancel the unnecessary. This is the most important contract you will ever sign, not with pen and paper, but with presence and promise. Every day you invest in this spiritual rhythm, you are not only deepening your love, you are sharpening your edge. You are welding your marriage to your mission. Speak these words with her, aloud and in unity. We speak as one mind. We walk as one flame. Our home is not just shelter. It is strategy. We declare before we decide. We align before we act. We rise together or we do not rise at all. Let this be the training ground, not of control, but of covenant. Let her feel your focus. Let her see your seriousness. And in return, expect her contribution, not as a favor, but as a requirement. For the man who desires greatness cannot afford a home built on comfort. He must build with a woman who understands that love without direction is dangerous. So I say to you, train the bond as you train the body. Sharpen the union as you sharpen your aim. Build daily, speak boldly, and rise together, not by accident, but by design. Let us continue. If you desire to become the man God meant you to be, you must not only invite challenge, you must require it from those closest to you. Nowhere is this more crucial than in the bond between husband and wife. For while many seek in marriage a soothing escape, the man of destiny knows this truth. The right woman does not merely comfort your wounds, she sharpens your will. She does not coddle your weakness. She exposes it lovingly but without apology. Weak men fear disagreement. Strong men welcome it when it flows from wisdom. The mature man does not require a quiet wife. He requires a clear one. A woman who dares to speak when you are drifting, who does not mistake your charisma for clarity, who sees your potential and holds you to it. That is not rebellion. It is reinforcement. You must understand, softness is not always kindness, and silence is not always peace. There are many marriages filled with quiet resentment, passive disconnection, and emotional sleepwalking, all because a man sought only softness when he needed steel. He sought to be stroked when he needed to be forged. True love is not about making you feel better. It is about making you become better. Consider the greatest craftsmen of success, Carnegie, Edison, Ford. They did not grow alone. Behind them stood figures, wives, partners, inner voices who did not merely nod. They provoked, they prodded, they reminded the man that his mission came before his mood. And sometimes their greatest breakthroughs were preceded by confrontation, not comfort. A wife who agrees with every word you speak is not a partner. She is a shadow, and shadows cannot build legacies, they only follow. But a woman who says, that is not who you are, when you shrink, she is a mirror. And you must never marry without one. This does not mean chaos. It does not mean contention. There is no glory in bickering. I do not speak of criticism born of bitterness. I speak of holy conflict, constructive, refining, purpose-driven friction that sharpens both of you. Just as iron sharpens iron, so too must you welcome a voice that doesn't echo but elevates. You must train yourself to listen, even when it stings, especially when it stings. Because the words that wound your ego often wake your spirit. Your wife is not your subject. She is your counsel. And if she has no space to speak freely, the danger is not that she will grow silent. The danger is that you will. Too many men become dull because they mistake agreement for peace. They confuse harmony with growth. But harmony without truth is a lullaby sung to a dying dream. You must be the kind of man who says, sharpen me, do not spare me, show me when I slip. The fire she brings should not scorch your identity. It should ignite it. Her conviction should not challenge your authority. It should confirm it. Because true power is not threatened by input, it is anchored by it. Now listen closely. If you are already in a marriage and your wife has grown distant or passive, it may not be because she is disinterested. It may be because you no longer invite her fire. Perhaps you have punished her honesty before, or silenced her vision. You must now rebuild that bridge. Go to her, not as a dictator, but as a man hungry for truth. Say, sharpen me again, I am listening. And if you are not yet married, then let this be your code. I will not choose a woman who merely celebrates my potential. I will choose the one who demands it, one who does not mistake love for silence, one who can see the cracks and speak. Repeat this aloud and make it part of your covenant. I am sharpened, not silenced. Love makes me more, never less. I welcome fire, for it forges me. My partner does not worship me. She builds me. I do not fear challenge. I fear comfort without purpose. Build a home where growth is not an accident. It is a requirement. Where truth is spoken not as an insult, but as an offering. Where both voices matter, not because they are equal in tone, but because they are aligned in aim. And should the world question this union, let it. Let others chase peace through avoidance. You are a builder. You are a king. And kings are not shaped by yes men or compliant shadows, but by wise women who know when to say no. Sit in silence, no distractions, no noise, just you and the truth. Take out a sheet of paper. At the top, write these words in large letters, my definite chief aim. Below it, write the very thing your soul has whispered to you for years. Do not write what pleases others. Do not write what sounds safe. Write the truth, what you must build, what you must become, what you were sent here to fulfill. This aim is not a dream. It is a divine instruction. The clearer it is, the more heaven and earth will begin to bend toward it. This aim is your altar, and your life must revolve around it. Next, beneath that sacred aim, write this question. What kind of woman would multiply this? Do not list traits based on beauty, trend, or fleeting charm. Think deeper. Would she be rooted in faith, steady in pressure? Would her silence sharpen you more than another's praise? Would her belief anchor you when yours trembles? Write it, detail it. This is not fantasy. It is preparation. The man who does not define the woman who should stand beside him will settle for the one who stands nearest. Now write the second question. This one more painful. What have I accepted in the past that diluted it? Recall every compromise, every distraction, every relationship that fed your flesh but starved your future. Every moment you allowed softness to replace structure. Be honest, brutally honest. Write down the traits, the tolerances, the small concessions that slowly pulled you from your path. The wrong partnership does not derail your life in a single moment. It leaks it over years. Write it, face it, then burn it. That list has no place in your future. Take the new list of what multiplies your aim and place it somewhere sacred. On your mirror, on your desk, in your wallet. This is not a list of desires. It is a list of requirements. Speak it aloud every day. Measure every woman not by appearance, but by alignment. And if you are already married, use this list not as judgment, but as invitation. Invite her to rise with you. Share your aim. Ask her to add hers. Create a shared altar. Revive the mastermind. This exercise is not sentimental. It is structural. It is how builders guard the blueprints of their life from emotional sabotage. You are not just choosing a partner. You are choosing the co-author of your legacy. Choose wisely, or rebuild with the one already beside you, but never drift again. Now turn the page, because what comes next will not just protect your destiny, it will multiply it. There comes a moment in every man's pursuit when he realizes that power alone is not enough. Wealth will not satisfy the soul. Acclaim will not secure the spirit. And even legacy, if pursued without reverence, will leave a man with monuments made of marble, but no peace in his chest. That is when he remembers what was always true. That man was never designed to walk alone, not merely in partnership with another human, but in sacred agreement with his Creator. And in the rarest of covenants, he finds one who walks beside him not toward comfort, not toward applause, not even toward prosperity, but toward God himself. Purposeful love does not wander. It ascends. It does not drift from pleasure to pleasure. It marches with focus toward heaven. You must ask yourself, does your union move you closer to the throne or further into the noise of the world? Are your prayers stronger together than they are alone? Does she believe not just in you, but in the sacredness of the path you have chosen? For the greatest mistake a man can make is to treat marriage like romance and forget it is ministry. Two souls tied in covenant have the power to multiply miracles or to double destruction. Your wife is not just your comfort. She is your compass. And if her needle points toward fear, self-preservation, or emotional drift, then your ship will never find its port. But if she seeks wisdom, if she speaks life, if she bows her head beside you in sacred expectation, you are already a wealthy man. A real union is not built on desire, it is built on direction. Too many men confuse chemistry for calling. They chase excitement and find themselves married to confusion. But the man who chooses based on divine alignment finds that every step forward is reinforced by heaven. Do you speak about purpose together? Do you dream together? Do you bring your plans before God as one? This is not religious ceremony. It is strategic covenant. Prayer is not passive. It is preparation. And when two minds pray for the same outcome, they accelerate its arrival. When a man prays with his wife, he strengthens her shield and sharpens his sword. You must train this into your marriage. Begin each morning with silence, not performing but aligning. Ask her, what do we need to lift today? Share your goals, speak your fears, and then in unity hand them to God, not once, but daily. Your home must be more than shelter. It must be sanctuary. Let your children see you both pray. Let your home become a place where peace is not a hope, but a habit. This is not idealism. It is instruction. Every great builder of history had someone close whispering clarity into their chaos. For some, it was a mentor. For others, a friend. But the rarest and strongest was the man who found it in his wife. Consider Woodrow Wilson. After his stroke left him debilitated, his wife Edith stepped in, not as a caretaker only, but as a counselor, a strategist, a watchman on the wall. She protected his voice when he could no longer speak. That is covenant. That is power. The world may not have noticed her, but destiny did. Or think of Thomas Edison, whose long nights of obsession and invention were often supported by a wife who believed in the vision when others laughed. She may not have held the tools, but she held the man. And sometimes that is what makes the tool effective. So ask yourself plainly, is your relationship heavenly aligned or emotionally tolerated? Are you praying together or just enduring together? If you are not yet married, then make this your vow. I will not choose beauty over belief. I will not choose convenience over calling. I will wait until heaven affirms her name with peace. And if you are already married, then I say this with urgency. Revive the altar. Go to her. Share your definite chief aim. Invite hers. Rebuild the mastermind. Begin again, not with bitterness, but with boldness. Say aloud, we were made to rise. Let us do so together. And now declare this in silence or aloud as you prepare for the final ascent. Together we rise, together we reign. My marriage multiplies my mission. Our love is not passive, it is purposeful. We do not drift, we direct. And where two or more are gathered in alignment with God's plan, nothing shall be denied to them. Let your house become proof that love, when aligned with purpose, becomes unstoppable. A man without a vow is a man without a spine. He may speak of standards, but they change with the season. He may speak of love, but it bends with his mood. That is why this moment is sacred, because from this moment forward, you will not guess what kind of woman belongs beside you. You will declare it. You will choose her in advance. You will make your vow known to heaven, and you will not violate it, no matter what your loneliness screams. Take a pen and write these words with the weight of your calling behind every stroke. As a man of purpose, I will only unite with a woman who... Then finish the sentence, not from fantasy, but from vision. What must her spirit carry? What must her heart believe? What must her habits declare? What must she guard in you? This is not a wish list, it is a vow. Because when you choose from vision, you do not settle for charm. You choose fire. You choose alignment. You choose a woman who will look you in the eyes when your soul grows faint and remind you who God said you were. If you are already married, this exercise is your moment of renewal. Do not approach her casually. Set the tone. Light a candle. Sit across from her, not as a tired husband, but as a man who has remembered who he is. Then look her in the eyes and read your vow aloud. Speak it slowly. Speak it like you are reclaiming a crown that was dropped. Then ask her to speak hers. Do not correct. Do not rush. Simply receive. And if her words are unsure, offer grace. But return to this exercise weekly until your bond becomes a blade again. If you are single, this is your altar of protection. Repeat your vow aloud each morning for 30 days. Let it guard your focus when temptation wears perfume. Let it stand like a watchman at the gate of your emotions. There is nothing more dangerous than a lonely man who forgets what he was made for. So write your vow and say it as if your destiny depends on it, because it does. Do not share it with anyone who mocks it. Do not hide it to seem more approachable. If a woman feels threatened by your clarity, she was never meant to walk beside you. You are not made to entertain. You are made to build, and builders must guard the blueprint of their soul. If your vow feels hard to write, good. That means it matters. That means it's cutting through your past patterns. Do not stop until it feels like prophecy. And when you write it, place it somewhere sacred. On your mirror, in your wallet, beside your bed. Every time you see it, you remember the man you are becoming and the kind of covenant that man deserves. The weak man dates for escape. The strong man chooses for expansion. The drifted man seeks softness. The aligned man seeks strength. Be the latter. Become a man of vow. And let heaven align the woman who belongs beside you, not because of need, but because of purpose, not because of emotion, but because of mission. And if you are married, then repeat this silently after your renewed vow. We will not live from memory. We will live from mission. We will not tolerate drift. We will train direction. We will rise together, or not at all. Let this vision covenant ceremony be the beginning of your next chapter. Let it be the moment you stopped searching from your wounds and started choosing from your wisdom. You were never meant to wander blindly in love. You were meant to lead boldly, wisely, and without apology. There is a peace that does not come from money, applause, or position. It comes from knowing, deep in the marrow of your soul, that you chose her right. You did not bow to lust. You did not chase comfort. You did not fill the void with noise. You waited. You watched. You prayed. And then you chose, not from pressure, not from fear, but from purpose. This is the story of a man who did not settle. He did not rush. When others mocked his standards, he raised them higher. When loneliness whispered, he answered with discipline. He walked alone through the forest of self-discovery, trimmed the overgrowth of impulse, and lit a lantern called vision. And from that light, she saw him, not as he was, but as he was becoming. He did not choose her for charm. He chose her because her eyes did not flicker when he spoke of destiny. He chose her because she did not flinch when storms rolled in. When he trembled with doubt, her belief was steel. When he warred with the world, her silence steadied his hand. She was not loud, but she was loud enough for his soul to hear. He had built an altar, and she came, not with demands, but with firewood. They built a life together, not just a home. Their mornings began with declaration, not distraction. Their arguments were not for dominance, but for depth. And in moments when fear came creeping through the cracks, they did not flee from one another. They fought beside one another, shoulder to shoulder, back to back. One mind, one aim. She did not lead him, but she lit the way. She did not replace his vision, but she refined it. In her presence, he became more precise. In her company, he remembered heaven. Their union was not a trophy. It was a tool, sharpened daily through respect, through silence, through shared responsibility to something greater than romance, purpose. His business multiplied, not because she managed his work, but because she never questioned the weight he carried. His mind cleared, not because she removed all burdens, but because she refused to become one. His discipline hardened, not because she demanded it, but because her presence deserved it. This was not luck. This was not magic. This was alignment, and alignment always breeds increase. And if you are already married, let this be your permission to realign. You do not need a new woman. You need a new agreement. Call her into your vision again, remind her who you are, and ask her to meet you there. If she is willing, there is no fire that cannot be rekindled. If she is listening, there is no purpose that cannot be shared again. Love is not a moment. It is a motion, one that must be restored daily. But if you are still choosing, let this be your warning. Do not marry for relief. Do not yoke yourself to delay. The wrong woman will not stab you. She will starve you, slowly, quietly, until you no longer recognize the man you were meant to be. You must see past the surface. You must feel with vision, because what she believes about God, what she believes about you, and what she believes about purpose, those will become your atmosphere. So choose with fire, choose with prayer, choose with a mind ruled by legacy, not loneliness. And when you find her, fight for her, lead her, protect her, honor her. Do not dominate her. Do not drift from her. And never forget, a good woman is not an interruption to your mission. She is the expansion of it. Repeat this within yourself until your bones believe it. I chose wisely, and heaven honored it. I lead boldly, and I am not alone. This is the hidden law of love. This is the secret no school will teach, no friend will say aloud. But I tell it to you now, as your brother, your witness, and your guide. Choose her wisely, and your soul will never walk alone again.